Well, welcome everyone. My name is Elizabeth Eiss, and I'll be your host at the webinar today. We've got, almost 90 people registered, and they haven't all shown up yet, but I think that's part of life these days. A lot of people sign up for things to get the recording, but I really welcome those of you who are actually here with us today. Welcome your questions, and hopefully the session today will inspire you to ask some. And let me introduce also Nick, who's helping me with the webinar today. He'll be manning the chat because as the presenter, I actually can't see it. And so I feel encourage you to put any questions you might have in the chat, and we'll make sure we get to them at the end. So my goal is to talk maybe for a half hour to kind of acquaint you with the latest and greatest on this theme, and then take questions and hopefully give you as much value as you're looking for today. So anyway, the topic today is from overwhelmed to optimized. And that's really kind of a state of mind that we try to nurture here. And it's all about empowering you with a virtual assistance team. And we'll be talking about what a team means versus a virtual assistant as we get going. Whoops, I need to advance the slide and it's not advancing. There we go. So let me just spend a couple seconds talking about me and why I'm talking about this today. Because really my passion and frankly, my business is all about empowering business owners to scale. So every business owner has an idea that they want to move forward, to impact the world, and I'm interested in helping you do that. And so I'm the CEO and founder of ResultsResourcing, and I'll tell you more about that later. But before I founded this company, this is just a little bit about my background. I spent years running very, very large companies, primarily in business operations. I joined my first tech startup in 2002. Through that, became an entrepreneur as well as an angel investor. So I've seen this world on both the side of the business owner as well as the investor. And frankly, I've spent the last 2 decades hiring freelancers. So I've had a lot of experience in working with freelancers. And honestly, I really found a gap when it comes to small businesses in terms of solopreneurs and small employers in hiring talent, whether it's freelance, or full-time talent. And so it inspired me to launch ResultsResourcing. And what we really is a firm that combines human help while helping small business owners and solopreneurs hire fractional talent. And that's really what we are. We help with contract staffing, but we're a technology hybrid really to make it efficient. And I'll tell you more on that later. But in the meantime, I've really developed what I would say deep expertise in fractional talent because not beyond my experience that I just described, I have been for the past 10 years that ResultsResourcing has existed, really connecting, being a matchmaker between business owners and vetted high-performing freelance professionals of a wide variety of skill sets. And really, we've made hundreds of successful placements with clients. We have very high satisfaction rates for clients as well as the freelancers that work with us. And so we're really skilled in helping business owners successfully outsource. And that's really because we are a combination of human hands and technology, the combination together, the best of both worlds to really help business owners scale. And so why am I so excited about doing this? Well, when I thought about launching my business, I thought, well, who can I help most? And small businesses are 99.9% of the businesses in the United States. We always read about those that are traded on the stock exchanges, the really big corporations, but the vast majority of business is small. In fact, there's 129 million solopreneurs in the United States and another 6 million employers with less than 10 people. So that's a huge chunk of businesses to help. And the other thing that really motivated me was because the average revenue for a solopreneur is $50,000 in the United States. And then you could see the ranges for small employers from 1 to 4 employees at 400,000, 5 to 9, a little about $1 million, 10 to 19, 2 million. And these are all SBA numbers. And I just thought to myself, well, if I can help these businesses double their revenue, what impact would that have on those business owners, their communities, the employees if they have them, or contractors if they have? I just think that would be a very worthwhile thing to do. So I've really developed both a mission, whoops, I went backwards, a mission and whoops, there we go, sorry. A mission and a business. And the other thing that really got me focused were the survival rates of businesses. They probably fail because largely they run out of money. Their products and services become obsolete. They don't keep up with what's happening in the market, or they get outcompeted for a variety of reasons. But you can see by this chart, again, SBA numbers, that really, half the businesses survive, at the 50-yard mark, and it declines from there. So to have a business last 10 or 15 years is a real success story. But a lot of great ideas, come out of these small businesses, and how can we help them be more successful from the get-go? So a lot of it involves overwhelm. Small businesses are trying to do a lot of things, and there are a lot of pain points because they're not necessarily expert at a lot of things they're trying to manage. So they really have a growth dilemma. So they're caught between cost. Yeah, everybody's, watching their pennies, and the finite capacity of the humans in their universe. And if they look to tools like AI, because this talk is going to be really talk a lot about AI, AI is powerful. It's impersonal. And frankly, it's very fixed. You automate things, it's not going to go with the flow, transaction by transaction. It really requires work, to get the best out of AI. And so as a result, these businesses miss opportunities, they have inconsistent service, and if they want to expand their business, it stalls because they're stop, start, stop, start. And so I was really looking for ways to solve for that. So one solution is a traditional human team, whether it's employees or freelancers. And there's pros and cons. The pros are really that you can get very specialized expertise by humans that are knowledgeable in a particular area, and combining that expertise in a team. People are empathetic, and people also help you with brand alignment because they're listening to clients, or reading feedback on the web, and making sure that what they're doing aligns with a company's brand. The cons are that any one human has a finite skill set. You can't be a superstar at everything, and you only have 24 hours in a day. And if they have more than one client, if they're a freelancer or just a human being, they got to sleep, they got to do other things. And so, there's not endless capacity. And a lot of that leads to burnout. People try to burn the candle at both ends, and it lasts for a while, but not as long as sometimes it's needed to really grow a business. Another solution, and one that's talked about today a lot, is AI. And a lot of people are talking about a pure AI approach, not needing people at all. And whether you feel good about that as a human being is one thing, but I also think it has pros and cons. The pros are that AI is available 24/7. It's cost effective. And what it's particularly good at is deep data access. Its ability to access information out on the web that's been made available to AI exceeds the capacity of one human being to do a deep dive and consolidate information. And it can also process information very, very rapidly. The cons, though, are it lacks judgment. It's never going to disagree with you. It can't really handle complex situations because it's a balancing act. You're going to have an impersonal customer experience. It's not going to be distinctive because anyone that asks ChatGPT a question is going to get the same or similar answers. And then this is something that's not talked about at all, but AI is not monolithic. There's hundreds of tools and options available to you, even within the main, like ChatGPT or Perplexity. Those systems have multiple versions. And so how do you decide what is right for you? What content gets created, and how does it all come together? And so that's not really talked about a lot, but if you've got a big company that's got AI specialists, they figure that out for you. But if you're a solopreneur or a small employer, that's a big job. So I don't think AI is that, snap solution for growing your business. But I do think there is something a business owner can do. And to me, I'm going to talk about that solution in a second, but I'd like to talk about it in the context of a case study. And this is a CEO of a small business, and it's a real story. And this person felt a solopreneur, felt overwhelmed, just way too much to do, had time and budget constraints, and really was overwhelmed by the options because there were some marketing things he wanted to do, some operational things, a whole set of things, and there were options to consider for all the different priorities he had. But how did all those options work together to provide a solution that makes sense long term? So the impact on his business is things plateaued. He didn't go forward on things because he wasn't sure what the best next step was. And so what he really sought were two simple things: business momentum, and then a clear path to success. So something he could build on and keep growing as he scaled his business. So with that as a backdrop, let me start with what I always love to talk about, because I think this is the proper context for how to scale a business, is the value of time. Because above all other things, time is your most valuable asset, and it's finite. And so I often talk about the difference between investing your time or spending your time. And to me, the thing to think about, and I'll reinforce this throughout the talk today, is really investing your time in the things that generate revenue and deliver value to your clients or customers. Anything else, you're spending time. It's a cost. It's an opportunity cost, taking you away from the main things that will generate revenue and value for your business. And those are all the things you need to do to run your business. You've got to do them to run a successful business, but it's not the best place to invest your time. And so how do you create more time to invest and spend less time on the stuff that doesn't really generate revenue? And so the key really is focusing on high ROI, return on investment work. And so simply put, core work, which is high ROI work, is the work your client pays you for. And that I deem as the front office, if you will. Non-core work is the work that you've got to do, but your client isn't going to pay you for it. They're going to expect that it's done to have just work with a well-run business. This is the back office. And in my mind, it's the back office that if you can find ways to outsource this work to skilled AI-enabled professionals, whether they're AI tools or AI-enabled people, that's a win-win, because you're allowing more time to be focused on the front office and maybe even automating or having other people do back office work for a better result than you trying to do it all. So to me, a solution is a hybrid virtual assistance team, because I don't think humans or AIs alone can both deliver scale and the personal touch. And I really think that the best results come from combining them into a cohesive team idea. So this hybrid approach does offer scalable, efficiency, and personalized support. So let me tell you more. Where do you start? Essentially, what you want to find is a solution that's going to deliver scalable value cost effectively. And to me, that's a combination of process, tools, and then people, in that order. So I call it the PTP outsourcing method: process, tools, then people. So it is in the order of 1, 2, 3. So I'll talk about each briefly. So process is really important. And a lot of people think, oh, I'm not a process person, how boring. But process is really important. It allows you to deliver a consistent customer experience. And frankly, it's a business asset. If you ever want to sell your business, the more process you have documented and more consistency in your process, the more valuable your business is. So to me, you start here. If you build repeatable processes, it helps you deliver your value consistently, helps you get more done consistently, and it also enables you to delegate or outsource, whether it's to tools or to people. And so, as I mentioned, some people say, I'm not a process person. I just don't think like that. And that's perfectly okay. A lot of people, everybody has strengths. And, it's not even a weakness. The fact that you don't think as a process person, it's just you think differently. But there are tons of people, contract professionals in particular, that love to build process. And so there's an AI-enabled freelance pro for that. In fact, AI will build process, but, it lacks the human judgment. So somebody needs to look at what AI does for you, even if they're the ones you go to say, give me a process for X, Y, or Z. Once you've got process, then that helps you choose the right technology tools that fit your process. I find so many people buy a tool, license a tool, only to retrofit their process to fit the tool. And I just think that's backwards, because you develop a process for how you want to do business because it fits you, fits your clients, fits your situation. And so I think it makes sense to license your tools after you do your process. And tech tools, I think, are really important, and they are definitely an outsource strategy. Outsourcing to tools saves you time and saves you money, and allows you to offload repetitive tasks things that people don't want to do, and you get more consistent execution. It will lower costs because people are more expensive. As a licensing software is much less expensive and fixed. And more importantly, or I shouldn't say more, but more powerfully, is it will capture valuable data. If you don't have data capturing tools, you really don't have information to go back and look at to understand why things happen. So whether it's a CRM, for example, a CRM, is going to help you understand your clients, your transactions, and these tools are just very, very important to help you understand your business and to make decisions for the future. And then it also helps you to embrace artificial intelligence. And frankly, you don't even need to be an expert in artificial intelligence because so many tools today include it. It's just part of how the tools are built. So you can benefit from the AI in these tools without having to be expert. And so these are just a couple of examples of things that, tools and AI can do for you. Automate routine processes and workflows, automate responses like AI bots, and ideating and synthesizing information. You can ask a chat GPT, for example, something very broad about your business. It's going to surf the internet of information and come back with information that would be very hard for you to put together and synthesize yourself. And just like I said about process, you don't have to be a tech person because somebody that you can hire is expert at AI and tools and will help you choose the right tools, set them up, and help you optimize them. And then the last thing is people, because I think people play a key role in all of these transactions. But let's leverage minds, the minds of people, not the hands to do repetitive tasks. So leveraging the critical and creative thinking of people is really the goal. And so to me, it's process, tech, / AI, then it's people. And those people can be employees. They can be your network or business partners that you collaborate with. And increasingly, it's freelance or contract professionals. When I first started hiring freelancers myself, everybody thought freelancers just couldn't get a real job. This was 12 years ago. But now fractional is a commonly expressed expression for talent. And it's just really exercising all the fractional talent that's out there. And as I mentioned, whatever you need, there is somebody that is out there that's AI enabled, that is a freelance pro to help you do whatever you want. It's really just a matter of finding those people. So I'm going to spend just a minute more on human versus digital virtual assistants, because this was a real eye-opener for me. At one point, I went to ChatGPT and I asked it, well, describe a virtual assistant to me. And what they came back with was a digital virtual assistant, not a human virtual assistant. And so in my frame of mind, I like to start with a human being. And so if you think about a human HVA, human virtual assistant, and you think about virtual assistants along this axis, they're professional support services for your back room. And human VAs in the beginning were really focused on tasks, task lists, clerical things, all that kind of stuff. And at the opposite end of the spectrum were more outcomes-oriented work. And these were all the benefits of hiring human virtual assistants, from the critical thinking to the problem solving, creativity, time management, attention to detail. People are self-motivated. AI just answers questions. It's not self-motivated. And at the end of the day, it's human. But what I really see based on that ChatGPT query is digital or AI VAs are making headway in the lower end of the spectrum, handling the tasks. And I frankly embrace that. I think that's a great thing because AI in many cases is better at these things at the lower end of the spectrum. But I think humans are still needed at the other end of the spectrum. So I also see this digital AI VA frontier, if you will, moving from left to right. AI is going to get better and better. It's going to be able to do more and more. But I always think the benefit is having a combination of using what AI is great for together with human beings. And so to me, the optimum solution is digital virtual assistants plus human virtual assistants. Because what humans bring to the table is fact checking. Everyone's read about horror stories with AI hallucinating. It does have a limited historical database. Not all tools are up to date on what happened yesterday. And you don't really know, depending on what tool you use, just what the database exists of. Humans can also provide a reasonableness test. Is that conclusion reasonable? And frankly, does it really apply to the client business problem that's being solved? Humans also own the result. They're accountable. AI is not. And at the end of the day, humans is always that default voice of the brand. So I think really the world going forward needs to be a combination of the both, for optimal results. So let's go back to our case study. Our CEO was looking for business momentum and a clear path to success. Well, this CEO hired a executive assistant that was enabled by AI. And what did this person get? This business owner got more time to spend on core initiative that drove revenue and delivered client value, and frankly, gave him time to innovate and come up with new ideas. He doubled his revenue, and that profit from doubling the revenue more than covered the cost of the virtual assistant and the AI tools. So sometimes it feels counterproductive to spend money when you're trying to outsource, and maybe you're worrying about your profit margin or your revenue level. But at the end of the day, taking that leap of faith so you can spend more time growing your business can actually increase your profit to cover the cost of these new outsourcing opportunities that you have. And so just to give you some examples, these are the key roles that were executed by a hybrid VA AI team. There was a whole lot of operational systemization with CRM really at the core, which really allowed for all kinds of mailers and workflows and responsiveness to client inquiries. Also helped with daily admin and scheduling, but sorting through an inbox, there are plenty of great AI tools that will do that, but sometimes human judgment is still necessary. If anyone has ever done a rule in email, those rules can go awry. And so having that human looking at that or helping with scheduling conflicts, was helpful. Lead generation system, direct output of optimizing a CRM system, personalized client support, stepping in when AI was limited, and also invoicing and bookkeeping. And then there was a whole set of things really on the marketing side, building an editorial calendar that the human actually worked with AI to build, frame articles, do research, things like that. Then between AI and the humans created content that led to publications on social media, newsletters, article, and in a rhythm because it was easy to pull together. And then interestingly enough, this CEO said, my human executive assistant, frankly, also became an accountability partner, helped me keep focused on the core activities when I was tempted sometimes to do some of the repetitive work that feels easy on the brain sometimes, but didn't really generate the revenue that was his goal. So to me, it was a real success story of how the two AI and human come together to help a business owner be more successful. And so this is just a short table takeaways from all the work we've done with various business owners with AI solutions, with the three key areas that are helpful in blending human expertise with AI. And the first is human judgment. And first and foremost, knowledge. Human VAs know what good tools are best for for email management, for example, or calendars, or how to use deep research. So as I mentioned before, there's so many different systems out there. What are the best ones to use to solve what problems? So that knowledge and experience in using AI is super helpful. They can also be prompt engineers. In fact, about 6 months ago, that was a new career that was spoken about, but AI actually is doing more of prompt engineering than ever. But humans are really good at asking the right questions, because if you don't ask the right question, you're going to get generic information, or you're not going to get the answers that you're looking for. So human VAs understanding the context of your business can help guide the tools to make sure the outputs that you get from AI match your brand voice and your business goals. Then, as I mentioned, they can customize the output for you, and then they can really be that impartial questioning voice. Does this make sense? And because AI never disagrees with you. but sometimes you need someone to be looking at things and saying, with a little bit of a critical eye, saying, is this the right solution for the problem we're trying to solve? The second thing is task automation, a huge area that I think AI is really strong, but you need a human to set it up because again, these systems are complex and many times require integration of systems. And then you frankly need to customize the workflow and the messaging. And AI does not do that for you, especially if they're two different systems that you want to work together. So it's helpful to have a human really help you with that. But then once it's set up, AI is great for repetitive tasks, routine responses, and anything that really is data heavy is a perfect thing, for AI. And then I think that the two come together well for continuous improvement. AI can be used to draft things, whether it's optimization processes, whatever it might be. But then the humans can step in again with that critical and creative eye saying, does this make sense? Is this really going to get us where we want to go? You can use AI to track the latest developments, by having an ongoing query around what's going on in your industry, what's going on with, new developments in this field or that field. That's something that it's hard for a human to cast a wide enough net to do that on a consistent basis. Great option for AI. And then really it's humans need to be measuring the impact of the work that you're doing. And seeing how the systems come together, what reports, analyzing the impact of the things that you're doing. And then ultimately, with an eye to the future, based on all the things you're doing, what are the things we should be thinking about going forward? Because again, there's just a limit to what AI can tell you about your specific business, but humans can help you put it all together. So just briefly, how can we help? Really, it's all around how do you find the right freelance pros? Because not everybody can do the things that I was just describing, but the right freelance professionals can. So it's amazing, but as of 2024, 76 million freelancers in the US. I'm sure the number has gone up. Globally, it's 1.6 billion. So how do you find a needle in a haystack? That's really what it is. First is DIY, and that's a lot of reasons why people join referral networks, to find other people they know, like, and trust that will be good referral sources when they need expertise. And there's also a ton of online platforms. But for small businesses with online platforms, you're talking to technology. There's no human to help you, put your job profile together well or help you evaluate. I mean, if you put a virtual assistant those words into an online platform, you're going to get thousands of responses. And how do you evaluate all those responses to determine who's best for you? And it's an awful lot of time to do that. Recruiters, and that's in essence what results resourcing does, we're contract specialists. And there's others as well. But basically, we're a matchmaker trying to understand the business owner's needs and matching them with the right contractors. It's a paid for service value, but we also are expert at this, not just us, but others as well. But we are expert at this, and we actually save time and money that would be non-productive for you because it takes time and you're not expert. So to me, DIY, it could be the right choice for you, but it recognizes that it is low return on investment. It does cost because your time is not free, and it's not going to be easy, but it's certainly an option. And referral networks are definitely a good way to grow. And then higher ROI, I believe, is really using people that are expert, that are going to help you figure out what you need and then help you find it. So with us, we are a human plus technology platform. This is the matchmaking we do, and we consider ourselves the best of both worlds because we are talent specialists, but we are highly automated. But we don't make our clients or the freelancers we work with use the technology. We use it to be more efficient. So there's no browsing of freelancers and no browsing of clients on our platform. We do curation. And so we are a fully automated proprietary technology platform with human talent experts at the helm. And really what you get with us is you get to talk to us, and we're entrepreneurs. You can access skillful VAs it's scalable, and we're cost effective and quick. So in a quick sum, we match our clients to pre-vetted freelance professionals. We focus on US and Canadian based talent only, And we do that because our clients want people that understand the culture here, that understand the professional practices and communication styles that are important in the United States and Canada. And frankly, the difference between doing business in California versus New York, there are differences. And sometimes that's very relevant to business problems. And then all of our talent is highly AI skilled. We also matched teams. And we really migrated to that after, in the beginning of the company, matching with individuals, because one individual doesn't have an infinite skill set, but a team does. So we match people with individuals on teams so they get the dedicated help. But at the end of the day, they can really access the resources of an entire team, because they might need some bookkeeping, they might need some graphic design, they might need a variety of things, and that one team can provide all of those things as it's needed on demand. So skill breadth and depth by role type. And lastly, we really have no minimum hours commitment. You know, people can get started with just a couple of hours a week without having to worry about some kind of retainer that, to me, is counterproductive. You know, if you want to focus on growing your business, you don't want to be worrying about filling a VA's time. And our teams are also ready to work in 24 to 48 hours. So quickly, these are our popular roles. I won't read them all, but we've really focused on what are the primary kinds of things that business owners come to us for, from VAs to, you know, biz dev support, lead generation. All those things are very, very important. And we also think that backing up our results is important. So satisfaction guaranteed. We're keen on helping business owners have the impact that they want. So to wrap, let's talk about optimizing you with an AI-powered VA team. I believe you can go from overwhelmed to optimized. And you can do that with a hybrid team of virtual assistants plus AI. And I think that's the ideal solution. I'm hugely in favor of the method process, tools, then people. And it can be as simple as deciding, let me pick one most important process to my business and start there. You don't have to worry about all the process. Just pick one or two that will have the biggest impact on your business. That's a great way to start. And then using AI skilled VAs to apply AI to optimize your business processes. Again, even if it's just that one, and then build on the next one. And then ultimately, our goal is to help you leverage the best of humans and AI tools to scale you and your business. So with that, our goal is to help you maximize your impact. And we think these 5 points are really the way to do that. And we're also here to help. So I'm more than happy if you book time with me using this QR code for a free 30-minute call. We can talk about how AI-empowered freelance pros can help you and get your question answered. Of course, we'll be doing that in a second too, defining the roles that you need and getting the support you want. So with that, I thank you all for coming today and listening. And Nick, I'm happy to take any questions that people have.
Sure, yeah, thank you. We have a few that came in. First one is, I'm starting a solopreneur journey as a self-publishing author. How does the PTP model apply here if applicable? And how can your company hybrid model support someone like me with tasks like marketing, social media management, website development, advertising, scaling, and anything opportunities that come through the book success, etc.?
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a lot. Well, you know, I think it kind of depends on where you're just starting. So you probably have ideas about, you're knowledgeable about book publishing and, you know, and the target markets you want to go after. So really helping you just set your business up. You know, if you haven't already set that up, there are freelancers that can help you do the paperwork, just set up an LLC, for example, or something like that, or just helping you start to organize your business processes. You know, how are you going to market? You know, how are you going to, what's your pricing model? How are you going to, you know, actually collect money? How are you going to invoice? All those basic things. You know, there's tons of automated AI-driven systems, and it's like, which one would be good for you? And then I'm sure there's systems that are specific to the publishing arena. And so, you know, if you're at that point in the business, those are all examples of things that a VA team could help with. You asked for about a number of other things as well, but the key, I think, ultimately is having a CRM system that is going to help you capture your leads, organize your database, and using that is going to help you drive your marketing campaigns, whether it's issuing a newsletter, or sending out email notices to people. You're going to build on a tool like that to help you, that will ultimately help you with, your marketing. But the VAs can help with what would an optimum editorial calendar be for publishing? Are there events you want to be speaking at? Are there key events during the calendar year that you need to be visible? And really building a whole program around that, and then helping you develop the content around that as well, because you may be expert at publishing one thing. That doesn't mean you're necessarily expert at publishing, an email marketing campaign. So it's the team can really complement wherever you are in your business, and the skills you need when you need them, because you don't have to do it all at once. Again, maybe the first step is making sure the CRM is set up, for example. If you do that, then it lets you build on that in a scalable way, in a cost-effective way. So hopefully I answered everything in the question. Did I miss anything, Nick?
Oh, I think that was great.
Okay.
Um, Next question. What are the biggest challenges businesses face when integrating AI tools with human VA teams, and how can these be overcome?
Oh, okay. Well, that kind of goes back to what I was talking about, how the fact is that there's so many AI systems out there. So to me, it starts with identifying the biggest business problems that you're facing, and focusing on that first, and picking the right tools. Um, it's funny, but AI is just like the internet of old. I mean, for a while there, every business had had to have a .com address, because it meant it was internet enabled. And now it's like everything needs an AI, at the end of it, because it's AI enabled. But fundamentally, they're all just tools. They're just all technology tools. And it comes back to, what business process do you need to work well for your business? And that's really where you start. And kind of taking a crapshoot, at all these tools that I mean, they're all marketing to you. And it's like, you need to assess what are the best ones for you, and assess whether all the capabilities that they're promoting are even necessary for you. So I think that focusing on the core processes that you need to automate first is key. And then choosing the right systems that will answer your immediate problem, but will also grow with you in the direction your business is growing. So you might not need all the functionality today, but you might pick one tool versus another, because it's going to help you in that next phase of your business. So that's the first step. But then it's just being conscious of the fact that so many things are spot solutions. And you don't want to have a bunch of spot solutions that don't talk to each other. And that's where my bias towards, getting a CRM that will work for you now and grow with you is important, because increasingly CRM systems include a lot of automations and AIs that will help you take your database of contacts and doing the next thing with it. But then you do need humans, I believe, to help you figure out, well, what should that email sequence be? What should be in those emails that I'm going out? What content? What's working? What are my prospective clients looking for in terms of messaging that they hear from me?
And this kind of goes into what we were talking about. What tips do you have to ensure seamless communication and collaboration between human VAs and AI systems within a team?
Um, well, actually, I would say that the most important communication is between the VA and the business owner. The AI tools, that's just going to happen based on whatever work is required, but I think that the VA and the business owner need to be in alignment, on what is the priority, and in talking regularly about, okay, what's the priority? What's the plan to use automation and AI to get the business result? And then is that result being achieved? And what changes need to be made? Is it a new tool, or we need to do it differently? So I don't think it's so much communication with AI, because that's going to happen just by using the systems. I think the communication between the business owner and the VA is what's really important.
Right. How can a tech-enabled VA team help a small business scale without losing the personal touch with their clients?
Well, I think it kind of goes back to my belief that it's a combo approach that's really important. I think that I really encourage businesses, especially small ones, to think about chat bots, or uh, or other tools that will help be responsive to clients when they come to a website or they email or whatever it might be. And I think humans can help, frankly, you by drafting, by using AI, come up with the right messaging that's going to resonate with a certain business's clientele. And then change it, as necessary, depending on the results that you get. And so I think that using those tools to have more immediacy and more consistency in response is really important, but then having the human, kind of watching the shop to make sure it's having the right effect, and changing the personalization if it needs to, to change. Because if the response is basically turning people off, then probably something needs to change. So it invites somebody to take that next step with the business.
Great. And are there one or two AI-enabled tools that you see as the majority of your clients needing right out of the gate?
Well, I would say the basic chat engines for sure. I mean, Chat GPT, Perplexity, Claude. I mean, the leading ones you read about, are all, I think, important tools just for basic, how do I do this? Or what can you tell me about solving this problem? It's just a great first step. But the thing to remember also is every single one of the brands that I just mentioned has a free version, but then they might have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 other versions. There's one for deep research versus other kinds of functions, and each one of those, tends to be known for one thing or another. One being more on content creation versus something else. So those are the ones that I think are good starting points, and I think every business should be using them. Even instead of going to a browser and saying, tell me how to do this, ask ChatGPT. Because the cool thing about ChatGPT or any of the other ones that I mentioned is you can make that initial query, get a response, and then you can ask it to tell me more about this, that, or the other thing. So you can keep going down and down in further detail to get a more detailed answer for what you're looking for. So, there's a free tool, free, powerful tool for you right there, is by using those kind of engines. So I would start there before actually buying any or getting a subscription to any particular tool. But then, of course, you can ask all those, engines about what's the best CRM for my business if I'm doing X, Y, or Z.
Anyways, got another one. It sounds like you have freelancers with expertise in all of those, and you can offer guidance on paid options and maximizing these tools.
Absolutely. The strong virtual assistants, professional virtual assistants, really develop a great deal of expertise in AI because they use it themselves to make themselves more efficient. But it doesn't mean that they let AI produce the work of the good ones. Don't produce AI generated work without the human touch. But all of the VAs we use, are quite savvy and are very clear on what are the best tools today for email management or scheduling or content creation, because it's changing all the time. So it's a world of expertise in and of itself. So you just have to be discerning, when you're talking to the capabilities of different VAs, like, well, what kind of experience do you really have? What tools do you recommend for whatever function you're trying to automate? So yeah, I mean, I've put a high value on people that are technical, because even before AI, being a big believer in CRM system or workflow automation, email newsletter automation, those MailChimp, for example, is, to get the most out of MailChimp, you need to be able to optimize workflows. That's technical. I personally don't want to do that, but I want to work with a VA who knows how to do it. And so we can strategize on what's the best way, to send an email campaign out, and then they can really handle the execution.
And that's all I got for questions.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much to everyone who joined us today. A lot in 44 minutes. And I really appreciate your time. And as we indicated when you signed up, we will be distributing a recording of this session to everyone that registered. And I think we have a book offer for those of you who stayed with us with the entire call. So we'll be reaching out to you to get your information on your complimentary book as well. So thank you very much. And Results Resourcing offers free webinars about every 45 days on topical things about how to scale you and scale your business. Hope to see you at the next one. Thank you very much.